The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Welcome to the Fine to Fab show with Lisa Lieberman-Wang, helping women reclaim their inner peace and power, going from feeling fine to being fab, fabulous, awesome, beautiful, serving to empower you to break through the barriers that weigh you down, to live an authentic life that is healthy, happy, and free. Now, here's Lisa.
Welcome, I'm Lisa Lieberman-Wang, your trusted guide on your journey from feeling fine to being fab. The Fine to Fab show is committed to helping women break through the barriers that weigh them down to live an authentic life that is healthy, happy, and free. I'm excited that you're here. I want to make sure you know where to find us. Well, we're going to be on this show. You have the opportunity to call in live at 561-224365. Remember to you'll be coming in live and also Skype in at W4WN Radio, and you'll be live, so mute your phones and we'll let you know when we'll be able to answer questions. I actually hear background noise, so hopefully we can fix that right now and not interrupt the show with that. What I'd like you to do is remember to become part of our active community. You can text the keyword Fine to Fab to 90210. Follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter at Lisa Lieberman-Wang. And you can also go to www.finetofab.com. Well, I'm excited to be able to share with you this incredible show because it's really been through my travels this past couple years and some friends I've made that I had the pleasure of getting to know and meet Jennifer Wilcov, who is our guest tonight. And I want to tell you a little bit about her. Jennifer's passion for communication has led her to being a #1 radio show host, a #1 international best-selling award-winning author, a dynamic international speaker, an award-winning freelance writer, a successful book business consultant, and entrepreneurial mentor. She survived being incarcerated in one of New York's and the nation's most violent prisons, Rikers Island, after inappropriately being told to plead guilty to a crime she didn't commit by an attorney who misled her case. Jennifer continued to succeed as an author, media personality, entrepreneur, and speaker after enduring this devastating, unimaginable experience. And I know most of us can never even imagine where she's been, let alone how she's turned it around. She knows what it takes to live the life you love in the face of any challenge. She loves to inspire women everywhere with the insights, knowledge, and wisdom she's gained so participants can take action. Jennifer also works one-on-one with entrepreneurs, business owners, corporate executives, authors through her signature Make It Happen program and her book consulting practice called Your Book is Your Hook. What a great name. Jennifer fans the flames of human spirit in each audience member and client and encourages them to an empowering message, which this is going to be dear to my heart because of Fine to Fab. She says, you have the right to remain fabulous under any situation, circumstance, or condition. And you'll be able to find out more about Jennifer at www.jenniferwilcov, that's JenniferWilkov.com. So I want to not take up any more time. I started telling you a little about her, but when you hear more, you'll understand why I love her, and you will too. Jennifer, are you there with me?
Lisa, I'm so happy to be with you today.
Yeah, I'm excited that you're here, and there's just so many things. I know that when we got together, we didn't stop chatting, so I know we'll be all over the place with this. But what I'd love to do is have you even start to give a little bit of a background of where you came from and you know, now knowing all the things you're doing now, but how you even got here would be great to start with.
Well, you know, when I was in college, I did a lot of different things. And I actually started in the entertainment field. And after I realized that I had 2 degrees, one in communications and one in advertising and marketing, which was a marketing business degree. I started working on the other side of the business world in corporate America. Through my travels and journey, I worked in corporate America and then became an entrepreneur. And as an entrepreneur, I have seen very, very high things and very, very low things. And I'm very, very happy with where I am today, which is very much at peace, very happy with what I do, the people I get to serve, and a lot of the activities that I'm involved in, which are all related to moving humankind forward.
Great. That's incredible. You know, one of the things that I wanted to even go back on is there are so many people, and I know that in my challenges and journeys that I had to go through, trials and tribulations, there were always excuses that can keep us stuck, and there's ways that we can move forward. And I know that I've learned a lot of the tools that you've mastered over the years to be able to get over things and to be able to move forward, where people who have gone through some of the injustices you did could actually end up with a whole different direction than what you chose. So why don't you just share a little bit of what happened, because you really had this, you know, cushy job, life was good, working for American Express, and then life changed dramatically.
It did change very dramatically. I was a highly decorated certified financial planner for a major investment firm in corporate America, and I found myself in the eye of the storm of an accusation of a crime of scheme to defraud, which I didn't commit, and an attorney who cajoled me to plead guilty, only to find that same attorney leaving me with no representation at my sentencing hearing, and having a judge who, instead of honoring my Sixth Amendment right, told me that I was going to Rikers Island that day, and asked the same attorney who had withdrawn his representation to stand in so she could sentence me. And he said yes, and she did. And she told me that I could appeal when I got out. I lost everything that I had. I had no address when I went to Rikers, and I only had a storage unit. So for most people, just living through that part of my journey would have been enough.
Yes.
But I survived in a most miraculous way, supported by a wonderful community of people on the outside while I spent 4 months in Rikers. And I came out to people who wanted to work with me with their businesses, wanted me to help them with their book projects. And I hadn't slept in 4 months. So I think one of the most incredible parts of my journey has been understanding that life is not about things, life is about people. And it's really very, very important to be clear about what it is that you want to do. And when I actually was sentenced and I was taken into the courthouse, out of the courtroom, in handcuffs, I remember that I had an opportunity to talk to my mother on the telephone. And I asked her in that moment, I said, I don't know how much time I'm going to have on this phone call. I said, but I need you to promise me right now that we're going to make this the most positive experience ever. And she didn't answer me at first. And I said, no, really, I need you to tell me right now that you're going to work with me and that we're going to make this the most positive experience ever. And she agreed to do it, and I did too. And from that commitment forward, we just decided whatever was going to happen, we were going to make it as positive as we possibly could. And we did. And it really became a huge, huge revelation when I was 3 years later in FINRA, which is the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, which is the governing body of all financial activities in the United States, including all the stock markets, all of the financial firms, and all the individual advisors like I was, where in that particular case, the information was finally reviewed by this body, and they denied in their entirety all charges that were claimed against me beyond fraud, including withholding material facts, failure to disclose, and even the breach of my franchise agreement with the firm. basically they had said that I did nothing wrong. And it really has confounded a lot of people inside and outside the legal world how one governing authority could actually say that I didn't do anything wrong. And then you have a criminal justice system, which really broke down for me in so many ways, that didn't do what they needed to do, and I had no recourse. And one of the things I think, Lisa, that's so important for your audience to understand is that there are going to be times in life where you feel like you just can't fight the system. There are times when you can't say, wait a minute, I need you to look at this really, really closely. There are times where you're going to have to choose how to handle situations. And in many times, you're going to understand who you are and what your inner strength really is. And I really encourage you in those moments to have courage. That is the most important part of what you can do, is just have courage. Even if you have no idea what's going on, even if you don't know why it's happening or what the purpose is, just have courage and stay the course.
Well, I can't even imagine, Jennifer, in the sense of you're in a position where you're thinking you're doing everything right. And I remember you sharing even that you were working with the FBI and giving them all this information, thinking you're helping them take care of the people who did the injustice, and instead it was turned around on you. How do you have courage in the face of all this adversity when it's coming down and it's coming down on you specifically?
Go ahead.
Yeah, what are you thinking? Like, what are you telling yourself? What's some of the internal dialogue that had to go on?
Well, oftentimes when things are so crazy, in that particular situation, what I was doing was I was looking at what was happening, and I couldn't put two and two together. I couldn't understand why it was happening, and it was happening so fast. It was really just like a runaway train. I mean, I went from walking into the authorities to report what had happened. I was one of the victims as well, and all of a sudden when it really turned upside down and all of a sudden I felt like I was in the storm, it really became one of those times where I was thinking to myself, I may not actually know why this is happening, and I need to be okay with that, even though I don't like it, even though it's unpleasant. And what really started to come up for me inside was there's got to be somebody I'm supposed to help. I know I'm supposed to help somebody. And if I can just get to that person that I'm supposed to help, then I'll be able to get through to the end of whatever this is. And that really, Lisa, was my attitude the whole time, was who am I supposed to help? And if you look at this wonderful string of pearls that happened in my story, which you can see my TEDx talk, you can go to YouTube and you can just type in my name and the TEDx talk will come up as well. It's really something that I ended up helping so many different people in so many ways, and in ways that I didn't even know I was helping them. And conversely, I had so many people who helped me in so many ways that they didn't even know that they were helping me with. So I think a lot of it happens to fall to your attitude and exactly what you're asking me. How do you find that internal dialogue that is supportive, that will keep your head on straight, that will help you to stay calm and be able to listen in these very chaotic and in some cases catastrophic situations?
Absolutely. And, a lot of people at the time the first question that's going in their head is, why me? Not, there's got to be someone I can help. That's totally outside of yourself. And that gives obviously a lot more strength than playing the victim. It was more about serving at that point already.
It was very important to me that I have that perspective, and that the people around me understood that was my perspective. The day before my sentencing hearing, my very best friend of 20-something years helped me with one of my wishes, which was I wanted to donate my hair. I needed to cut it off for my own personal safety. If I did go to Rikers, which I did, And my desire, I had a core group of people, and I had asked them, let's find a good place for me to donate my hair. I need to cut it off, but it's very healthy, and there are a lot of people who don't have hair or are going through situations. Let's all put our heads together and find one that we like. And we ended up selecting the Pantene Beautiful Lengths program, which supports women who are going through cancer treatments and radiation treatments for ovarian and breast cancer. And they use human hair for wigs for these women. And we went in. I sat in the salon chair. I had no money. I had nothing. And they washed my hair. They did a beautiful job cutting it short. And we made sure they measured it so that they got enough hair for the program for it to be accepted. And my best friend went back to her home with my hair and the envelope and all the instructions. And while I was incarcerated that week, she sent it in.
And, it was interesting, even the reason to cut your hair. I mean, you had put so much thought into, I don't think the word you used before was survival, but you said I survived, but you did so much more than that. But you were already planning, and it wasn't a planning a demise, it was a planning how to live, even in those circumstances. And I know that's what got you to even cut your hair off, of what you had learned. You took classes for self-defense, right?
Yes, I went. I was invited by my Aikido sensei to come to a private lesson with him at his dojo. And he told everybody, I found out later, he had actually told everybody in the Aikido community to stay away from the dojo that day. And I didn't know that at the time. And he was so incredibly supportive. And he literally prepared me in a way for this environment that's so brutally violent at times. He really prepared me in such a beautiful way to make sure that I knew exactly what to do to be safe. And one of his instructions, which I found impossible, but I accepted it as a direction, he said, just do your best to be invisible. And I really was like totally confused, Lisa, by that direction, where I felt like that I didn't know how I was going to be able to accomplish that, but I certainly took it on as a very good direction. And one of the things that really led to the whole hair conversation was he actually grabbed my head in the dojo after asking me, don't you think you need to cut your hair, which is very long, and it was at that time. And I said, no, I'm just going to pin it up. And he proceeded to grab the hair on my head and drag me all over the dojo. And it was, it was very profound, and I really trusted him. And when he was done, I stood up and I brushed off my knees. And he looked at me again and he said, now what do you think? I said, I think I'm going to cut my hair.
Yes.
And one of the things that I think is really important for a lot of people that don't realize how important it is when somebody that knows more than you do is giving you instructions or direction. It's very important to listen and to weigh what it is that they're saying. In the Aikido dojo that I am a proud member of, the Wellness Resource Center in North Dartmouth, Massachusetts, one of the things that is so wonderful is in that dojo, there is a police officer, there is a corrections officer, there are people who have been incarcerated in the past. So the person that I was listening to, the leader of the dojo, really knew what I needed to know. And I had no idea what I needed to know. And I was willing to listen. There are times in our lives where we need to be very open and able to hear other people. It's time to let your ego go away and be ready to receive, because people oftentimes will tell you things because they care about you. And it's important for you to not just take it as it comes, but to weigh it and think about it. And in this particular case, which seems very obvious to most people, I obviously was going to cut my hair because he showed me why my hair was a weapon. I didn't even know that my hair was a weapon against me until he did that.
Absolutely. And that is the reason why even seeking out other people's experience and knowledge to be able to serve us and to protect us. A lot of times we get great advice and we don't listen to it. Fortunately, he did a good job of demonstrating it for you as well. True demonstration. And you know what? Hopefully that would never have happened, but you also need to take precautions for it. And I think a lot of people get warnings and they just don't heed them, you know?
Yes, I think there are signs sometimes where if we are able to be still, that's one of the things that I definitely know at this point in my, I'll call it young life, is when you're able to at least use your vision and really look at the world in front of you and be aware as much as you possibly can. Sometimes it pays to sit still and take a good look at what's going on in your world. Who are the people in your world? What's happening in your world? And what's happening to you in your world? Because if you're willing to look, which a lot of people are not willing to look, you'll certainly find things that are wonderful, I hope. And you may find things where you need to tweak them or perhaps change them a lot. It's extremely important for you to pay attention in those moments and use that stillness to your advantage.
Right. And that comes from a lot of martial arts and yoga and other meditations. And a lot of people do not even practice that because they never are still, let alone silent or to feel. That is something I know I had a hard time with, especially when I was going through the challenges years ago. I had so much going on. I had a psychic once say to me that I had so much clutter going on in my head. It was just so I wouldn't be able to see or feel what was going on. I purposely kept myself busy. So that being still and listening is important. And I know that you also have some strategies to be able to deal with the challenges, whether it be through strength of spirit and other things. Do you want to share some of that?
Yes, I think one of the things that we do as people is when something magically and suddenly happens that is unexpected, and it happens to be something that is either unpleasant or not what we want, we tend to either beat ourselves up or we tend to take away our status of being as wonderful as we are away from ourselves. We suddenly have lost. We've lost points. We've gotten demerits. We've actually started putting ourselves down. And one of the things that I say a lot, which I appreciate as the title of today's show, is you have the right to remain fabulous. And I remember somebody asked me about that title at one point and said, don't you mean become fabulous? And I said, no, it's remain fabulous. Whatever happens to you, whenever it happens, and in whatever moment it happens, you have the right to remain fabulous. There is nothing different about you today than there was 5 minutes ago before it happened. And that's something that you really, really have to understand. It's something that happens to you, and that makes it extremely important for you to actually understand what's going on and that you're the same person. Nothing happened to you. You can still be the same strong person that you were 5 minutes ago, 4 weeks from now. It doesn't matter what happened. What does matter is how you choose to handle it. And that's where the strength of your spirit will really count.
Right. And a lot of the biggest challenge, too, is a lot of people don't even think they are fabulous, let alone remain fabulous.
And that's really the most important thing that you can do, is if you can keep in mind that it's really all about you in that moment and how you choose to proceed, then whatever you do will affect the people around you the way that you choose to do it. And the example I gave earlier about me and my mother making this commitment, this what people have told me bizarre commitment, of making something that was just so terribly devastating, so incredibly positive, it was because it was our choice. That was what we decided we were going to do. And even though everything had gone completely crazy and completely, in many ways, feeling like it was out of our control, we knew that there was one thing that we could control, and that was us. And that was how we were going to approach it and how we were going to deal with it. If you can do that, then you can do anything.
Absolutely. And a lot of people do not have that, managing their own state and their own outlook. And I know that you even saying that it was about how can you help someone else, there had to be other things that you knew you were looking forward to when you got out. Did you actually see that before? Like, you're going in, you were sentenced for 4 months, but were you every day counting? Were you looking forward to something else? Were you, your connection with your mom, I'm sure, was limited. How did that work?
Well, the interesting part about this experience was that for those of you who have a computer, who have a smartphone, who have email, who have a bank account, which is most people, Lisa,
right?
I didn't have any of those things. All of those things were taken away from me. So when you're sitting in a situation, oftentimes I've said, and continue to say, it really feels like you fall down the rabbit hole in Alice in Wonderland and you're not quite sure where you are, you're not quite sure what the rules are, and you're not quite sure whether you can or cannot do things. And that oftentimes feels like danger. It feels extremely risky. And in this particular case, one of the most important things that I was able to do was look at what was coming. It's like you had said, I knew exactly how many weeks. I was very fortunate. I knew exactly what day I was going to be released. So I had to make a choice about what I was going to do during the time that I was inside Rikers. And then I had to make a decision about what I was going to do when I got out. To be honest, Lisa, when I was inside, I had no idea what was going to happen when I got out. I had nowhere to go. I had nobody to, no place to live. It wasn't like I was going home. Right. So one of the things that I think really was challenging for me was to get a better understanding of what was happening right now. And I think oftentimes for people, that's one of the biggest struggles that we have, is that we're so busy thinking about what's coming or what's in the future that we forget to live in the moment. And if we can just take the time to live with what's happening right now and make good decisions as best as we can in the moments that we're making them, it will help you propel yourself one foot in front of the other, one day at a time, one day after the other, so that you can progress. I mean, one of the things that I had the option to do was really get upset and down in the dumps, because I really couldn't do anything more than just be where I was and follow whatever was going on at the time. And one of the things that you have to understand for sure is that what happens in Rikers is so chaotic from moment to moment. You have to be on your guard at every second. And the thing that is so incredibly important for you is you don't need to go to Rikers Island to feel like you're in prison. There are enough people who imprison themselves. What you really need to do is get present to the moment that you're in. Do the very best that you can with what you have and keep going. Just keep going forward.
And, that's exactly where I was going to take it, and it's a perfect direction because we're going to go to a break. But before you do, I want to just say that a lot of people do put themselves in prison, and it's a mental prison, whether something happened to them where they feel there's an injustice, and it might not have been as severe as a Rikers Island. It could have been an incident that happened to them. It could have been something that, we've heard the expression, things happen for you or to you. Most of the time it's for us if we're patient enough to find out. But there are so many people that do get caught up and not present. And I love the quote, and I said it before, but it happens to be one of my favorite. When you have one foot in yesterday and one in tomorrow, you're pissing on today. So we need to stay present so that we could enjoy today. We're going to go to a break, but I want to let our listeners know if you'd like to speak to Jennifer live, you can Skype in at W4WN Radio. and you can ask any questions you'd like. Also, remember, we will be having giveaways, so if you'd like to text at FIND2FAB to 90210, please do that, and we'll be right back. Thank you.
Hey there, this is your life talking to you. Yes, I know it's unusual. You think that you are just living your life, but now here I am. I just had to speak up if you and I are going to have the best. Yes, you've had some success with me, but you know things could be better. I know how tough it's been to fight depression and the habits that lead you to self-sabotage and disordered eating. I applaud you for all the professional and self-help remedies that you have tried so far. But let's face it, they haven't worked. But it's not your fault. I know. I was there, remember? It's time that you listen to me for a change. I want you to go to www.findtofabshow.com and find out how best-selling author Lisa Lieberman-Wang can make me, your life, fabulous. Right now, Lisa is offering a 10-week transformational program for us. Mention the show, and we'll get a really great discount. Hey, I'd go online and do it for us, but I don't have any fingers. So go ahead and go to www.findtofabshow.com, and let's make the changes we need today so we can have a better tomorrow.
Feeling tired and achy? Frustrated with allergies? Stress causing you high blood pressure? If you're ready to feel better, have more energy, maintain healthy cholesterol levels, joint flexibility and circulation, looking to reduce inflammation, support healthy glucose levels and sinus relief, plus so much more, Isotonics OPC3 is a food supplement made from a combination of bilberry, grapeseed, red wine, and pine bark extracts, and citrus extract bioflavonoids, all found to be powerful antioxidants. Oligomeric proanthocyanins, OPCs, are bioflavonoids found in fruit, vegetables, and certain tree barks that provide exceptional nutritional benefits to the human body. Studies have shown OPCs to be up to 20 times more powerful than vitamin C and 50 times more powerful than vitamin E in neutralizing free radicals. Isotonics is delivered in an isotonic solution, which means that the body has less work to do in obtaining maximum absorption, as you can drink your vitamins. No pills, binders, or fillers. Buy now at www.amillionproducts.com. Isotonics OPC3.
If you've always wanted someone to connect with on your path to a happy, healthy you, I've got great news. In her #1 best-selling book, Find to Fab, 7 Secrets of a Successful Woman's Journey Away from Depression, Disordered Eating, and Self-Sabotage, Lisa Lieberman-Wang shares how you can experience your breakthrough just as she did. Start living an authentic life without blame, shame, or years of therapy. Buy now at FINDToFab.com. If you've always wanted someone to connect with on your path to a happy, healthy you, I've got great news. In her #1 best-selling book, Find to Fab, 7 Secrets of a Successful Woman's Journey Away from Depression, Disordered Eating, and Self-Sabotage, Lisa Lieberman-Wang shares how you can experience your breakthrough just as she did. Start living an authentic life without blame, shame, or years of therapy. Buy now at FINDToFab.com.
Welcome back. We're here with Jennifer Wilcov, and I'm Lisa Lieberman-Wang, and we're excited to be sharing this journey that Jennifer has taken and really learned so much from. And it's something that I think no matter what your situation is, there's so much merit in what's being told, because I think the metaphor of prison is just the one most of us put ourselves in. And there are so many people where situations have happened in their lifetime, and it might have been for a moment, it might have been a month, a year, but they make it last 30, 40 years. And Jennifer, I know you're in a public place, so we'll let people know that's what the noise has been. And we hear like a party there, so thank you for being here. We'll keep the party away. Why don't we talk a little bit more about things that you had to do in even believing, because now you have a financial career, you're coming out, you've been indicted on something like that. You know, maybe the option here was, you know, am I going to go back to that career, or I'm going to end up going into your books and everything else? How did all this happen?
Well, one of my nicknames is the Make It Happen Girl. And really what I did during all of this was I gave up my licenses voluntarily. So I gave up my financial industry licenses of my own choice. And that was a very difficult choice to make, but I did it. And interestingly enough, I was already a #1 best-selling author and award-winning author at that time. And people were coming to me and asking me for help with their books. And really my book consulting practice, For Your Book Is Your Hook, grew out of those requests because people kept saying, I want to be you. I want to have a best-selling book. And I don't know how to do that. And I would tell them, well, first of all, why don't you be you? And let's take a look at what you have and what you want to do. And then I will let you know if I can help you. And my whole practice as a book consultant with Your Book Is Your Hook really grew out of those requests. And one of the things that I can definitely say is that my entire business as a book consultant has grown because I have listened. I've listened to people ask me for help. I've listened for what they are asking me for help with. And then instead of just jumping up and saying, yes, of course, I can help you with that, I let them know, let me know what you want, and then I will let you know if I can help you. And I think oftentimes it makes a difference if you are first willing to listen to people, whether you're in crisis or if you're building a business, which for some people can be very challenging. I think one of the most important skills that we have as people is to listen. And you can build an incredible family. You can build an incredible relationship. You can build an incredible life if you're willing to listen.
Yes, and I think it's a lost art, and most people just want to be heard. So obviously you being a listener is going to be received very well.
It makes a difference for people, and it is important for many of us because several people in your life, in my life, and in many people's lives, I'm sure, who are listening, do not feel heard by certain people in their world. And it is a gift that you give to somebody else when you are willing to listen. More than that, when you're in a business that is a consulting business, the most important thing you can do is not give advice, but listen. If you're going to guide somebody, you really have to understand where they are at the present moment and what their perspective of the present moment is in their business, in their life. It's a really effective opportunity for you to give somebody this incredible opportunity to not complain, but actually express what it is that they need and then let them know honestly, yes, you can help them or no, you can't. Right.
And I know that, like you said, when you were in your own prison, mentally, physically, it's the whole thing, and as well getting out, you did help a lot of people there, and now you're continually helping people with even getting their message out there. Share with us some of the biggest lessons you've learned. Let's take the top 3 from the last, 6-7 years now, right?
Yes. In the last 6 or 7 years, there have been a lot of lessons. And I think one of the most important lessons is that what really matters is not things. What really matters are the people around you. And if you can understand the value of those people, you'll be in so much better shape in your world than you could have ever imagined. I mean, it really becomes an incredible gift when you can actually say to people how important they are every day. Don't wait for them to pass away. Acknowledge what they're doing in your life right now and give them the opportunity to feel appreciated for what they're doing for you. Because too many people don't, and they don't offer to help anybody, and they don't actually accept the help that's offered. So that's one of the most important things you can do. Another thing that you can also do is understand that you have a spirit, you have a dignity that is your own, and nobody can actually take that away from you. No matter what happens, you definitely have the right to remain fabulous, and you have the right to hold on to everything that you are. even if you lose it all, even if it's taken from you, even if you give it all up, you're still you. And that component is so incredibly essential for you to live your life with joy and gratitude. And the last piece, the third piece, is that if you actually treat yourself well, you'll actually find that you're in such a better position, because it's important for you to care for yourself, eat the right things, get enough sleep, make sure that you're in a position in your world where you feel as good as you possibly can. If you do that, you'll take care of yourself, and you'll find that a lot of people around you want to help you take care of you.
And the irony about that is a lot of people, the last piece is what they do the least of. They don't take care of themselves, and they think they have to take care of others, and they put themselves last. So that's a good point to keep that up there as a top 3.
Yeah, Lisa, there's something I always say to people is that if you don't take care of yourself, how can you take care of anybody else? If you didn't know how to take care of yourself, ask somebody. Ask somebody for help. And I think that's also one of the things that a lot of people don't do. I certainly didn't do it when I was younger. And I learned through this experience, because I had to ask for help, that asking for help is extremely effective. And it's very important to be willing to do it.
It's funny because the common threads that you're sharing, and I even wrote it in my book as well, because my grandmother used to say, baby, take care of your mother's daughter. Because I was so good at taking care of everybody else, but I didn't take care of me, and that's when I got sick. And the other is I didn't want to ever ask for help. And these are such common threads that cause us to end up in a place where we hurt ourselves and not help ourselves, and I think people miss that. But a lot of times people think asking for help is weak, but it's actually a strong thing to do.
Actually, it's the strongest thing you could ever do. And I think for a lot of people, it is what you said. They feel like it's a sign of weakness when they have to ask for help. But the most important thing that you can understand is that we're all here to help each other. And I think when I first told my mother, I don't know what's going on in this situation, but I think I'm supposed to help somebody. She said, what? You think you're supposed to help somebody? You better help yourself first, And I think in a lot of ways, what happens for too many of us is that we don't understand that asking for help is a good thing, because most of us, or at least I can speak for myself, we're not mind readers. I know I'm not. So if somebody needs something or wants something or isn't happy with something that I'm doing or is thrilled with something that I'm doing, I'm never going to know. And that's really the truth. And I always acknowledge that. And I ask the people around me to tell me what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what's going on for them. And I'm very vocal, and all of my people in my life who are closest to me know that. And I think it's very important to tell people that you care. I think it's very important to tell someone if you're upset and be specific about what you're upset about. Don't hold it in. Don't try to make it go away. One of the most important collaboration rules is that you have to be willing to communicate. And asking for help, Lisa, is one of those fantastic ways we have as human beings. One of the things I love about the world and humanity in particular is that we can look at the animal kingdom, and when a baby needs help from its mother, it will go over and it will ask for it, whether it's pawing or clawing or whatever it might be. We have this fantastic ability to ask with our mouths and with our words. And, oftentimes when we're young and we're infants, and we're learning how to talk, parents are told to turn to their children and say, use your words. And I often say to people when I'm speaking at different appearances, use your words. It's okay.
Well, and I think a lot of times people are going back to that child, though, as children to be seen and not heard, and we never grow up. Those are other things that end up happening. we forget that we have the ability to communicate, and we need to, and it's okay to, because I don't think people want to be heard. In some respects, like you said, to your sensei or said to you to be invisible, which is totally in my mind, knowing you, the complete opposite of what you are today. And I know that you have this big event with Get Your Voice On that will be next year for empowering women, and there's so many things that you do. It's completely contradictory to what I know you as. So that whole line, it's still ringing in my ears right now.
Well, it's an interesting, I think, challenge for a lot of people. When something happens to you, oftentimes people have said to me about what I've lived through, I would have, they are saying to me that they would have crawled under a rock, or, they would have disappeared in some way. And some people have told me, they would have committed suicide and they just wouldn't have been able to go on. And the thing that I can tell you for sure is that every person on this planet has a reason for being here, whether it's for a short period of time or whether it's for a very long period of time. And the most important thing you can do is understand that really life is a gift, and it's very important for you to embrace not only what's going on in your life, but to also understand what it is you want out of your life. If you understand that, you'll make an incredible difference. I have an amazing writing partner named Kim Miles, and our book is called Boys Before Business. And we actually wrote that book right before I was sentenced and went to Rikers. And in fact, the workshops that we ended up doing all over the United States in 2010 were formulated while I was incarcerated by us writing letters back and forth about our ideas of what we wanted to do.
Wow.
And for me, that consisted of a college-ruled piece of notebook paper and a 3-inch golf pencil, and my imagination and my thoughts about what I wanted the people who were reading this book to experience when Kim and I had the opportunity to be in person with them. And back and forth, these letters would go. And when I came out, we continued our journey. We continued to formulate exactly what we wanted the reader to experience. And sure enough, we launched the book at the flagship store of Saks Fifth Avenue in New York City on Fifth Avenue. And we had a wonderful release date at one of the major Barnes & Noble locations at that time in Columbus Circle here in New York. And then we went throughout the nation. And we still continue to work with people with Boys Before Business. And for a lot of people coming out of an experience like this, and by the way, Lisa, at that time, we didn't know anything about what the financial industry thought about all this.
Right.
A lot of people would not have been able to do that. And when I actually came out of Rikers, I had a group of friends, and we ended up putting up my personal website at that time with the truth about what had happened. And I didn't have anything. I had no money. I had no nothing. And they turned to me and they said, come on, let's get this up. Don't worry about the fact that you don't have any money. Let's just do what you need to do and get it done. And we did. And it was very interesting. I mean, during the point leading up to when I was sentenced, I had no access to money. I had everything that had been taken from me, including an ATM card. I didn't have an ATM card to go to the bank. I didn't have a bank account anymore. And one of the things that was so fascinating to a lot of people, including me, was I was part of a masterminding group at that time. And what we did was we ended up with this program called Lunch with Jennifer, and that was actually how I started to eat. I traded my knowledge, wisdom, and guidance for food.
And like you said, you'll do anything and find a way. So, I would love people, we're going to have to wrap up, and this went so quickly, Jennifer. If you would tell everybody how to find you and follow you to be able to learn more.
Thank you. I would love to. My website is Jennifer S. Wilcov, Jennifer, S as in Sam, WILKOV as in Victor.com. If you enjoy being on Facebook, you can find me at facebook.com/Jennifer S. Wilcov. I'm on Twitter at Jennifer Wilcov. I love connecting with people on LinkedIn. And I really appreciate you, Lisa, asking me to join you today. I have really enjoyed talking with you.
Oh, my pleasure. And this is going to help serve a lot of women out there and men, because we have both listeners. and I know it's going to make a big difference. So be sure to follow Jennifer. You'll see she's a source of incredible motivation all the time, and inspiration and action. And again, thank you for being here. Remember, you're fab, fabulous, awesome, beautiful. And to be continued until next week. Have a great day. Thank you.
Now that I have your attention, ladies, when you need help breaking through the barriers that weigh you down, turning to food is not going to help, and starving yourself, along with ongoing feelings of helplessness and frustration, will not help either. The cycle of self-sabotage, disordered eating, and stinkin' thinking has to stop, and there is no better way than with other smart, business-savvy women like you who are making the change with best-selling author, licensed master NLP practitioner, and trusted guide, Lisa Lieberman-Wang of Find2Fab.com. Lisa will help you get that breakthrough you've been waiting for. Go to Find2Fabshow.com right now for all the details of the life-changing 10-week transformational program and the special listeners promotion. It's time to turn your life from feeling fine to being fab. Fabulous, awesome, beautiful. Go to Find2Fabshow.com now.
When I'm